I'll tell him that everything is possible. Just put your mind to it. That I mean, we've heard this a lot of times, but when you really get to it, it's harder. It's easier said than done. Because you always think like, oh, I'm not really good at this, so I might not really want to push myself into that direction because I might fail. I would say just go through it, fail as many times as possible, and something's gonna stick.
السلام عليكم، يعطيكم العافية، حياكم الله في بودكاست منير. ضيفنا اليوم كان مايكل 2D animator وديجيتال ارتست. تكلمنا في الحلقة عن عدة شغلات، منها أن كيف مايكل سافر من رواندا إلى أمريكا وبدأ يدرس، كيف كانت تجربته في دراسة الانيميشن، وأيضا تكلمنا عن عدة شغلات ثانية زي self discipline motivation. مايكل عنده وجهة نظر جدا حلوة على الموتيفيشن، وتكلمنا أيضا عن الفيلم الشخص اللي سواه اللي اسمه كابتن مانش. بس كتنويه الحلقة بالإنجليزي، وفيه في اليوتيوب خاصية الترجمة الأوتوماتيكية زي ما تشوفون في الشاشة قدامكم. هي أوتوماتيكية، فعطوني رأيكم فيها. لو كانت الترجمة مرة كويسة نقدر نسوي حلقات أكثر بالإنجليزي. أتمنى أنكم تستمتعون، لا تنسون اللايك والشير والسبسكرايب. Michael, how are you?
Good, Munir. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for coming to the podcast. I really appreciate it, and I'm really happy, to talk to you. You're the first animator in the show, by the way.
Well, I'm very glad I get the stage to talk about animation. Thank you so much.
Yeah, because this is a totally new field for me. I tried drawing before, and I remember I opened Photoshop like 2 years ago, and I was trying to animate an eye. Okay. So I draw I draw almost 5 frames, and it took me almost 2 hours, and I was super happy. I was super happy with that animation. I'm not lying. I spent an hour just looking at that eye, and I showed it to my wife, and I showed it to my mom, and I showed it to my friends, and I was like, I am an animator.
Certified animator.
Yeah. I might show you that after the fact, actually, but I don't know if I have.
Please,
it
yeah, cool.
Yeah. So, Michael, thanks so much for coming to the podcast. And can you just tell us about yourself and what do you do and how did you end up being an animator?
Sure. Okay. In a short way of putting it, I am from Rwanda. It's a small country in Africa where art was just getting started. We're just developing. It's still developing country right now. So we took the initiative to move to the U.S. and study, this art field, this craft. I came to in America maybe 8 years ago, and then I did some high school there, and then we moved to Oklahoma, and then that's why I came to Atlanta, applied for art school, and that's where my life started really, as an artistic life, right?
Okay.
I never thought that animation would be something that people go to study or even have employment in. So I'm really excited to get into that field.
Yeah.
That's how I am right now.
So before we get into all the animation stuff and all of that, how was life back in Rwanda?
Oh, Rwanda is a different world. It's when you come to the West, it's you just realize how different the two worlds are. In Rwanda, we have in terms of tradition, how people talk, what people expect from you. Obviously, people expected to become doctors, big, architects, mathematicians and all that. And now this kid that was like, okay, he wants to do art. And so I just got a lot of support, a lot of influence, traditional influences on how to, come up about art. So yeah, Rwanda is really progressive in terms of let's get this new art form out there. Let's get these new kids started in this new, how do you call it, new businesses.
Okay, so what is the main language there?
Kinyarwanda.
Okay.
It's Rwanda, and then it's like Kenya before that.
Okay, interesting.
Probably the hardest language ever learned. Yeah, even I still don't get it.
For real?
Yeah, it's a very hard language. Yeah.
Well, like, how difficult was it for you to adapt? Like, when did you learn English, basically?
We learn English and French back home, like maybe all your life, all your high school life, like start primary and then high school, and they teach you like a lot of languages. I also learned Dutch at some point.
Okay.
Yeah, and you have the options there, so I was like, why not take it?
Interesting.
But yeah, we learned English there, and then depending on your studies, either people go to Europe if they learned French, or they go to the United States if they learn English.
So why did you move to the United States in the first place?
Oh, it's just a dream, American dream. That's what everybody, when they see America on TV, they're like, oh, I have to go. We have to go.
Yeah. That's interesting because, I went to the US when I was almost 3 years old, so I don't remember that. But okay. I have, it's not a dream, but it's something that I want to visit the US and see all the studios there and just go and this is something, one of the things that I want to do later on, and I want to go there and work. But the thing is, can you walk me through the experience of just when you landed there and you're walking around and you're finally there?
I was excited. That's for one. I couldn't wait to just get my hands on everything. I was like, oh my, there's a new thing over here, new system, new technology. I was really excited to just, really be hands on everything. And I was surprised that here are a lot of things that you can really enjoy hands on. Not just in terms of art, but just like looking at different things, different buildings. You just get inspired with everything.
Okay. Interesting. So I'll later on I'll tell you my experience, in a couple of years when I go there. I'll tell you. I might have the same feeling then. So anyway, so you went to college and you started studying animation.
Yes.
So can you tell me exactly what did you study there in college and because what I know is they call it a fine art. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, no, it's a fine arts. It's a bachelor of fine arts in animation. So you just because fine arts has subcategories, right? You have animation, you have film and television, you have branding. There's a lot of subcategories over there. So I chose the unlucky one, the animation one.
Okay.
Because it's But fun fact, I actually did biology before.
Okay.
Studied biology before animation, which was a huge transition, but a good one.
So you studied biology for a whole year?
For the whole year, that's correct.
And then what was the trigger for you?
Something that always clicks to somebody. You look yourself maybe 10 years from now, and it doesn't work out. So I really need to find something that's really passionate to me. And biology was intriguing. Science is still interesting to me. Psychology, especially. So I was like, okay, let me find something else I might actually enjoy doing for the rest of my life, which was animation. So I had to take the initiative.
It's interesting because when you were almost 20 years old, right? When you thought about that.
Yes.
Because
yeah,
because I was thinking, I'm thinking about myself, and when I was 20, it was my first. Yeah, it was my first year in nursing, and I did not think about. For some reason, I did not think about 5 years later or 10 years later in the future. It's good that you thought about that early in your life.
Yes.
And
yes.
What I want to know is exactly the trigger. Why did you think at that time? I mean, you were studying, like, you did not have a good time studying biology or not?
Well, it's not that I was not having, a good time. Well, it just, after that, it just gets repetitive, and I just look myself in the office 10 years from now, how miserable I could have been.
Yeah.
Yes, you're saving lives, you're getting satisfaction out of it, but I didn't really see myself as a lifesaver. Like, I really saw myself as maybe I can save lives different ways.
Interesting.
So maybe something else bad information, right?
Yeah, interesting.
But it just clicked. I was like, okay, I don't think this is gonna work for me.
Interesting. Everyone has his own trigger moment. Let's call it trigger moment. It was triggered for me when I was in the ICU, and when I was seeing patient died. Like when I started seeing patient dying in the ICU, that was the trigger, and it was not from the first time. I saw I saw tens of patients now, and one day I had that trigger. So everyone has his own moment. So anyway, you studied animation, and this is like, I'm curious. Did you have this? What do you call it? Life drawing classes? Do you call it like this?
Yes, we did.
It's
they're fun.
It's one like it is one of the things that is really like, I'm thinking about that. If I go now and study fine art, do I have really to do that?
See, actually, really good point, Munir. We discussed a lot about this in society. We're maybe even till now with the challenges we're trying to get moving. There's a lot of gesture drawings, and some of the gesture drawings, well, you kind of have to know the human form. And to know the human form, you have to go to these classes where everybody can, surrounding this person. So I can see how, with the religion and maybe a tradition, it can be very, very hard.
It's weird. I mean, it's like, I don't know how to describe that. It's like all of a sudden
it feels out of place.
Yeah, exactly. Because here, we have a conservative like culture, and all of a sudden you have this naked lady or naked man just like standing there, and we have to look at him and exactly like stare at him, and it's weird.
Well, it's not even just your culture, even our culture. It was new to me.
For real?
Yeah. I was taken aback. We're supposed to look at them and enjoy them for us.
If I'll go there, I'll do like this.
Yeah, it was like how to draw and kind of pick through.
So anyway, so you studied in, like, can you tell me about animation classes and how was that in college?
So with the animation classes, they really walk you through it. They get really meticulous in terms of what stage people should start on. We have, I don't think if you know the light table, the old light tables that the masters used to use, flip the pages, remember those? We started on those, and we were really happy to see. But unfortunately, just side note, they don't have as many of those anymore because, with the technology advancing, I guess we don't need those anymore, the light tables.
Exactly.
But we started on those first. And then we moved up from the principles, moving up to the more harder classes where the professors are really like, okay, you've learned all this for 2 years, now apply them. We're going to, stay quiet, let you do your work, and then we're going to take maybe every Friday, every Thursday. And that really helps, especially the feedbacks really help with, advancing your art. So that's one thing I would say about school art. Sky.
So this is a common question. Do people have to know how to draw before they get into college, or they can learn while studying?
Well, you can learn, definitely. I can tell you that I was not a good artist. Well, I was intermediate, but a lot of people could have gone into the school easily if it was if we were just skills. But people got into college, especially SCAD, is really accepted to anybody. So knowing how to draw, really, that's something you get to learn at SCAD also.
Because the thing is, I mean, they're going to teach you the fundamentals like perspective and.
Yes. Yeah.
What are the other things? That's the only thing I know. Gesture drawing, anatomy, all of that you're going to know.
Yes, life drawing, still life drawing. That's like the earlier foundation classes. You learn about screen design. Screen design, which is basically where to put elements on your frame. You know, whether this person, your character should be more on the right or more on the left, or there should be more space with the environment. So all that you learn, and then so you amass all this knowledge just to create a film, just to create like a 30-second or 2-minute film.
Yeah. A lot of
so
work.
You can imagine that a lot of work. You have to know how to paint. You learn how to paint.
Yeah. Okay. So you mentioned something, and that is a segue to my next question. You mentioned feedback. Okay. So this is something, one of the most, let's call it, essential thing in growing your art is feedback. And that is the difference between a self-taught artist and someone who went to college. That in college you're going to receive regular feedback from your mentors there. So let me ask you this: Is college necessary to become an animator, like a good animator?
All right. Here is a
this is very
question.
sensitive question.
It's a very sensitive question because it's either do I tell these people that they should go to school, spend the money, or they just study at home.
Yeah.
So, not to take my word for it, well, I'm going to just say my personal experience, in my opinion. I would say that the feedbacks that you get in college are very instrumental to building your character and a tough skin as an artist, because you go into these industries, right? You get feedback after feedback, and sometimes you see a director just shredding your work.
Oh my
Or like
God.
they just take down your work. Well, not out of the bad of the heart, not trying to offend you. Just I don't like this. Just rip it off, play somebody else's work. It's like, okay, this is what we're going to do.
Oh my
So if you don't know how to take the criticism, constructive criticism, it has to be constructive. Otherwise, you're just being rude. So in at school, you get constructive criticism from the professor and also your peers, which is it's great because it pushes those people, your peers, to also know how to use the vocabulary that's necessary for animation or like critiquing. So not only do you learn the vocabulary, you also learn how to have a tough skin, how to communicate with your superiors. Versus when you just self-taught. When self-taught, the only feedback you get is somebody on the screen that's saying, well, this is how I'm supposed to do it, but they're not really looking at your work, on one-on-ones, I would say.
Okay. So it's because it's hard nowadays. Colleges are very expensive, and I'm someone like when we talk about 3D, for example, if someone now come and ask me, I'm not an expert. I did not go to college, but I talk to a lot of mentors. I talk to a lot of students, and a lot of people are saying that college is not necessary. You can have a 1.5-year program, a diploma, and then you can work in the industry. I mean, I've talked with a senior environment artist in Ubisoft. And he was like, no. Like the guy graduated from high school. He stayed in his parents' basement. He studied for a year. And then he went to Ubisoft and he worked on like games like Assassin's Creed, Watch Dogs, and stuff like that.
And he learned on the job, right?
Yes.
Yeah. See, that's a good question. I mean, that's a good point. All the Disney and everybody that came up with him didn't really go to school for animation, even drawing. They all kind of knew how to draw. They just needed like a venue to explore their drawing and actually make a production out of it. So I would say that if you kind of you have already your foot in the to the door, you know, in the artistic door, it's going to be easier for you, obviously, to step into the industry. But if you maybe need like a more technicality into your drawing, maybe your art, your craft, you like need more finesse, I guess I would say.
What is that?
Finesse is like I need like a specific critique on
okay.
like a work. You know, what do I get? Yeah.
Okay.
Just to refine your work, really refine your sense of, okay, I've learned about animation, but also I'm learning about something else, storyboarding, you know, on the side. So sometimes college will do that, will provide you with this. You just have too much things to do, you know, but you learn a lot in just 1 year.
Okay.
And then the same thing can happen with somebody who's self-taught. You can learn a lot of things. It's just the motivation, right? The motivation to learn more.
Exactly. Yeah. It's a struggle. I'll be honest with you. Being self-taught, like in college, there are people who's they're behind you. Like there is a schedule. They're going to ask you, where's your homework? They're going
breathing down your neck.
Yes,
that's what they say.
exactly. But being self-taught, if you don't have the self-discipline and the motivation, it's very difficult. And I've seen a lot of people quitting 3D, for example. And like just yesterday, one guy in Discord, and he was like, guys, I'm tired. I've been practicing 3D for almost a year, and I'm not improving. And I was like, I told him, this is my approach at least. I told him, 1 year ago, you had no idea how to navigate through the
interface.
Yeah, the interface, the program itself. You couldn't navigate, and now you can. At least you can finish something. That's an improvement.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's an improvement.
Yes. So like talk to me about self-discipline there.
Self-discipline, that's a big thing. That's a big thing in art. You know, with the whole starving artist type of mantra, you know, there's like, you know, if you're not doing it right, you're gonna be poor forever. You're not gonna make it in life. You're gonna struggle. So it's just getting that, you know, that fear, and then just transform it into self-discipline, you know, and that's gonna keep you going, because you realize that nobody's gonna be on your neck, you know, telling you to do this, even after college. Like nobody's gonna tell you, hey, you need to do this, and this, and that. You kind of like have to create this, you know, this schedule in your mind first, and then outside. You can't just be like, okay, I'm going to write down something I'm going to do tomorrow. You might not do it. So even having that schedule in your mind, just rewiring your brain to make art and to discipline yourself in making it. That's the way I see it.
Yeah, like I know you, Michael, that you're not a believer in motivation, right?
Well, yes.
And you have an interesting point, to be honest. But can you tell people what is exactly your thought on motivation?
Well, motivation, it's like if you remember this sand, this hourglass.
Yeah.
Where you flip and there's like sand coming out, slowly. That sand is gonna dissipate, right?
Yes.
That's kind of how I feel about motivation. Motivation, one day you wake up like, oh my goodness, I need to do this, and I got it. Right? And you do it, and then you hate your drawing, and then you hate your project, you just let it go. You just lost that motivation, and then tomorrow morning you wake up again and like, I don't feel like doing it again. I don't feel motivated. See, that where there's like the problem. You can, as an artist, I think, yes, there's some little bit of motivation, but if that's your driving force, I don't think that's the smart way to go. I would say more of a self-discipline, perseverance, just getting outside of your own comfort zone. Because if you're motivated, if you're relying on being motivated every time, what happens when you get depressed, or, you know, something is missing, you run out of money to make something, then you're not going to do art for the longest because you were not motivated.
Exactly. Yeah. I do understand that. Like I'll give you the analogy of sport. Like I'm doing CrossFit. Do you know what is CrossFit?
Yes. Can you explain a little bit about it?
Yeah. Well, like we're doing a lot of heavyweight lifting, and we're doing a lot of gymnastic movement and all. Okay. So just yesterday, I was not motivated to go to the gym at all. And I was like, I came from work, I stayed home, and I was like, no, I have to go. We had a class in 15 minutes. So it's 4 o'clock, the class will start at 4:15. And I was like, I have to go. It has nothing to do with motivation. I'll go there. I'll just show up.
Mm-hmm.
So I went there, and we have a very tough workout, okay? And it had a lot of pull-ups. And I was like, I was hanging there, just holding the pull-up bar, okay? And I was like, I had an internal battle with my mind. And in my mind, all I hear is, please, just go, just leave, please, just stop. My hands all, it hurts as hell. Okay, I'll show you now.
They're just giving up on you.
Yeah, exactly. And because we had this, we needed to hang for almost 20 seconds. Okay, it's very difficult, and we had to do it for 10 times. And this is what happens to my hand.
Oh my goodness! You're not kidding.
No, it was there was a lot of blood and stuff like that, and I was like, I will not stop. And that moment, at that moment, I knew that if I stopped, I wouldn't feel good about it. So I continued.
Yeah.
But I couldn't sleep at night. It hurt as hell.
So would you go back doing it again?
I would actually. I would.
See, it's not even about motivation.
Exactly. So I love talking. I love talking about motivation and discipline, honestly, because it's an essential part of being an artist.
Yes.
And
well, one other thing. Where would you draw your motivation? It's also very important. You know, it can't be just grabbing. Yeah.
It's interesting, actually.
Like you can be okay. I'm motivated because because that's how I felt that way before. You know, or just because this person there, or because of this and this and that. What happens when that motivation you're pulling from is not working anymore? Then you don't have any motivation.
Yeah.
You know,
exactly. Yeah, that's an interesting point. So anyway, you graduated from college. You finished your bachelor degree, right? And you did Captain Munch.
Yeah.
Just to remind you did that as a graduation project or something, or this is something.
We did that as a graduation.
Oh, okay.
Yes, as a graduation project. Yes.
So can you tell me about Captain Munch and how did you come with the idea?
Captain Munch was originally a story about little kids that is kind of suffering loss. He just lost his dad, and you kind of see that during the movie. And then he gets pulled into this world where everything just looks different and it's really cartoony. He just goes on an adventure and he just finds this person that just turns out to be the dad, the dead dad, or reincarnation of the dead dad. Mm-hmm. That's where the story kind of picks up, and we realize that he's happy in that world, so he stays in there. Mm-hmm. And I've heard a lot of questioning about, is the kid being abducted? Because he gets, so you see the kid on a box, cereal box, with the character. Uh-huh. And we have people saying, what happened to the kid? Is he safe? What happened to the mother? Mm-hmm. Where's the mother in the story? Mm-hmm. So it's a story that really gets you thinking, and and it was really fun to work on it. I had a really good team. And
Interesting. So I just want to clarify one thing is, how difficult is to draw one frame? I know it's a lot of work drawing all of that. I know it's very hard. People are going to see this and they're going to be like, oh, this is only like how many minutes? 3 minutes? It's easy.
Yes, well, I can show you here how much if you go really slow. This is also one thing about animation, having a good team that really understands the movement of a character, especially a character that might have like a beard, very tiny, slender nose. You have to kind of in between that perfectly, because if you don't do that, the character becomes kind of jaggedy, you know. The movement becomes unreal. So animation, in terms of, you know, how meticulous you have to be very careful. You just keep drawing, and it just takes a long time. You know, it just takes a long time to really figure out the perfect movement for your character.
So how did you how long did it take for like from beginning, from zero to end, for this to finish?
So if you're talking about the pre-production to post-production,
yeah, all of it.
That's 2 years. 2 years.
My God, 2 years.
It's it's 2 years, but then again, there's like other things, you know, that's carrying over with the other classes. But if we had a production and we just kept on producing this, kept on working on this, I think less than a year would be a good time. A good.
And would you call the development or the development of this short a linear production? Because, like, for example, in games, it's never linear. Okay, but like I don't know about animation. Like, do you consider it linear as like you're finishing this frames, and like the day after that you're coming and just building on that?
Yes, that's a good question, because in animation, obviously you have, you know, your supervisors, you have people coming back with feedback. So it's very much back and forth. You go back, you start a frame, and then you go back again the next day until you really get the animation out. So in terms of the linearity of animation production, the pipeline, it's not as linear as people would think. It's a lot of back and forth. If it's a good production, you would see supervisors talk to directors. Sometimes when things are not working, you see animators going straight to the directors because the supervisors are not really handling the jobs right. No, you know, I'm not, you know, I'm not criticizing any supervisor out here, but you know, it's just a lot of back and forth, a lot of communication. So I don't think it's linear at all.
Okay. So, cool. And then, but like, you did not release this short, not yet. You're planning to release this when exactly?
At the end of the year.
At the end of the year. Okay.
That would be the goal. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. So let me ask you this, and what is exactly your advice for people who want to start in this field, people who want to be an animators? I mean, I can guess one of the most common question is about drawing. As I asked before, do I need to draw before I get into animation? And what kind of, like, for example, softwares can I use, and what kind of graphic tablets I could use? A lot of questions. So can you just give me your advice on that?
Of course. So maybe we'll be talking about 3D art, 3D animators. 3D animators I've met 3D animators that don't know how to draw a stick figure. But they're still really, really good animators, you know. So it's not really about drawing skills, like understanding the human form. It doesn't matter which art form. It can be 2D animation. You have to know how to draw the human figure. You can't escape it, you know. You can't escape not knowing how to draw. In terms of 3D, just knowing the line of action, for example, knowing gesture drawing, really capturing the motion of a character. So I just opened Blender for some reason, but that's also one thing, you know, really learning the programs, having the right programs to use is also an important thing. And again, we were talking about motivation and self-discipline. You know, knowing the difference between those two things is really important coming up as an artist.
So you're saying that the most important thing is to understand the human, like the movement of people and the movement in general. Yes. And like, I'm curious, that does animation impacted the way you look at people now? Like, yes. You think that you can understand people now from their movement and body language, basically?
Well, not only that, even when you watch a lot of films, because we're filmmakers at the end of the day, you look at films like, okay, this guy is acting not human like, he's acting now. So when you see people, for example, in real life, you really you notice little things, intricate things, like subtle things that, this would look cool in animation. You just so it just sometimes it's just weird when you're looking at people like really intensely at their face. But it's not that. Sometimes it's not because I'm interested. I just want to see your face because it's really intricate.
You remind me of something last, like I think 2 weeks or 3 weeks back. I had a patient and I was talking to him, and he had a very interesting temporal line. Okay, and it's like, because the guy was very thin and his temporal line was I don't know how to describe that, but it's very interesting. I mean, you can even see the, so what do you call it, supra orbital mountain.
Oh, wow.
They call it something like that. He was so thin you can see that.
Wow.
And I was looking at his forehead, and he was like, "What's wrong? Something wrong is there?"
No, nothing wrong.
So I do understand that.
It's just a fascination of movement. It's what should fascinate you to improve yourself in animation. Looking at people just moving up, walking around,
Yeah, exactly. So you finished Captain Munch, and you finished your bachelor degree, and you're doing your master's now, right?
I'm doing my master's, working also on a thesis film, working on another film with Abdullah that's coming up.
So,
now
you're doing your thesis, and you're working on a movie also.
Yes.
Oh my God, this is so much work.
And it's so much work, and also we're also working. I'm going to be working on a show. It's called Tunga Show, but it's a I don't know what I'm supposed to tell you, but it's a Triggerfish, a company that's kind of partners with Netflix. So we're going to be doing some storyboarding as well, starting next year. So there's a lot of work that's going on, but I'm just trying to get as much knowledge as I can. Storyboarding, animation, thesis, all of that.
So, as someone like you who has basically a lot of things to do you have a system or a formula where you do, what do you call it? For a moment, I all the English terms I run away. Just give me a second.
What time is it over there?
No, it's early. It's 7:30. Do you put a daily schedule basically to arrange everything?
Well, yeah, I just make sure that I do one thing at a time, because when you try to do everything at the same time, it becomes too much. It becomes you become disabled pretty much. You feel like you need to do more and you're not doing enough. You just keep on doing everything at once. You're just not working. So having a good schedule too helps. Definitely.
So, do you do that on a daily basis or just weekly basis, or do you do a to-do list?
So I start with a big list. It's like, okay, things that I need to do. Let's say just thesis, and then storyboarding. All that. I start really big, like very broad, and then I break down those lists into more digestible tasks, and I'll break them down each week maybe. Just to figure out, just to, digest all the information, digest all the work. Yeah.
Interesting. So anyway, good luck with your masters, and your expected graduation date when?
2022, around May, June. We finished pretty late.
Oh, this is this almost 3 months from now?
Yeah, 3 months from now. But I'm trying also to add a couple classes, hopefully. In between that, maybe even summer class after that, just to try to get all the other stuff out.
So, what do you have to show exactly in your demo reel? Basically, recruiters are going to watch that. So, what do people have to focus and put there in demo reel in terms of technicalities?
In terms of technicalities, it's you just really have to show snippets. You know, the demo doesn't have to be long. You know, that's one thing that employers will see. If your demo is too long, they're not going to look at everything. But if you have really good work, let's say, 30-second demo reel, but you have really, really good work, that's what they're going to remember that because they're really engaged. It's short. You have the work that, let's say you're a 3D generalist. If you have maybe, character designs in there, you have models, you have, maybe you have some couple of gesture drawings in there, they might not look as, as interested because maybe they might look into a specific job title like a 3D modeler, but you already have gesture drawings in there, so it doesn't make really sense. So really tailor your demo reel according to like what you do. Me personally, I'm a character animator, so I put a lot of character animation in there. That's what I do. You know?
I mean, you basically you made your own short movie, and you have your own demo reel. You already finished your bachelor degree, and you're doing your master, and you're working on a thesis, and you're working on multiple projects. Okay, so I just want to ask you, if you can go back and tell yourself, and you just give yourself an advice for the 15 or 16 or 17 years old Michael, what would you tell him?
I will tell him that everything is possible. Just put your mind to it. That we've heard this a lot of times, but when you really get to it, it's harder. It's easier to say than done. Because you always think like, I'm not really good at this, so I might not really want to push myself into that direction because I might fail. I would say just go through it, fail as many times as possible, and something's gonna stick. I'll say that to myself and to anybody too.
This is something I think about all the time, and especially for me because I started. It's not late, but relatively, for people around me, it's considered to be late. Like I already finished my master degree in nursing, and then later on I got interested in 3D. And the thing is, I'm thinking about that all the time, that just don't give up. It's possible, and you can do that, and you can do that. And positive self-talk is very important. And
yes.
Did you have a problem with that before?
Of course, I think everybody has. It's just me personally, I used to I say that I'm my own worst critic because I criticize myself a lot, and in terms even by my own work. So it's just really getting into that comfortable zone, and yet not so comfortable zone where you feel like, okay, this is my they call it niche. This is my place. This is my place right now, and nobody's gonna move me out of it. Even if you're 50 years old, 60 years old, if you know your place, if you know that that's what you're meant to do, it really doesn't matter what age or like what you don't have. Just look at what you have and just produce whatever you can.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. This is something I think about all the time. That when I'm feeling low, I think about how would I feel if I accomplished what I want, if I accomplished my goal. And that feeling itself, it pushed me to just do the work. All the time. I think about that all the time. I'm thinking about, could you imagine, I'm telling myself that, could you imagine just signing your resignation there in the hospital and just leaving, and people are going to ask you, what the hell are you doing? You're leaving your job, and I'll be like, yes, I could leave this job without thinking about it.
Yeah,
I think about that all the time. Honestly, I think about that all the time.
And so when you think about quitting, what else are you planning to do? Like continuing art or?
Well, my ultimate goal is to work on a game studio.
Yes.
Okay. So that's why, and I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting to get to a point where I don't want to get there as a junior, honestly.
Okay. Oh yeah.
I want to get there with the level of a senior, where you're going to be irreplaceable, basically.
Yes, yes.
I don't know if I put that right or not.
No, I think you're going in with the right mindset. Just, you're really building your skill up, right? If you're building your skills, I think you can get better. It's just like not motivation again, self-discipline.
Hopefully with time. Anyway,
Yes.
Michael, thanks so much, and it was really fun. And looking at your demo reel and your movie, honestly, I feel inspired and motivated. I know you don't like that word.
Good. That's good. I want to keep that motivation.
But honestly, for me at least, when I see someone's work and how hard they work to achieve that level, it's motivated me. It motivates me and inspires me to do my best also, because it gives me the feeling that I'm not alone in this world. Everyone is trying to get better. Everyone is trying to achieve a goal or something like that. So, really thanks. I'm really looking forward to your new demo reel.
Also looking forward for your art. That's what we're doing in this business, inspiring each other.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
Anyway, Michael, thanks for coming to the podcast, and it was really fun. It was a pleasure.
It was a pleasure. Thank you.
See you.